Hello everybody, this is Godzilla 1991 here, and for tonight's review, I will be covering this set that I immediately ordered for this Christmas that is just gone, even though it was a while ago. But it didn't arrive until a few days before my vacation away to London, and that would be the Bandai Godzilla Minus One Gashapon figure set, which contains 4 kaiju, 2 reptiles and 2 humanoids. These sets only now seem to have 4 monsters, where many years ago, it seemed to be from 6 to 10 beasts. Don't know why they only do 4 kaiju nowadays. Must be a cost thing. But anyway, let's now talk about the set. However, the pack not only came with these models, it also contained 2 mini posters. One was for Godzilla Minus One, and the second was 1993's Godzilla vs Mechagodzilla 2. They didn't really have to do that, but I thought it was generous of them to include those posters. However, as nice as those posters are, we're not here to talk about those. Let's get on to the figures, as they are what made you click on this video. First up are the Gargantua brothers, Sanda and Gaira, from 1966's War of the Gargantuas, a movie that is a sequel to Frankenstein vs. Baragon, aka Frankenstein Conquers the World. I haven't seen the film itself, but I have watched other people's reviews on it, and they say it's one of the best kaiju films period. So I would like to see the movie itself someday. Also, I know the film was released back in 1966, the same year Ibra Horror from the Deep, also known as Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster and Gamera vs. Barugan came out, but I one time read somewhere that it was released in 1970, so it either came out in the US of that year, or it's just a case of the old Mandela effect playing up again. The first kaiju is the brown Gargantua Sanda, not to be confused with Santa. You would be amazed on how many times I have gotten the two mixed up. Sanda occupies the mountains, and is a protector of humanity, and is a protector of humans, and he reminds me of the abominable snowman. Now when assembling the figure, he was actually quite hollow, however there is a plastic brick that will connect him to his torso, and he also comes with a peg. He needs his peg at all times, otherwise he'll fall over without it. However, he can't stand up by himself as you can see in these pictures, but I will attach it when I have him for show, so thankfully you don't have to worry about standing up issues. Both his hands are closer to fists, just like he's getting ready to punch his little brother, as they do get into several fights. So one fist is raised up, and the other is not too far off. Despite this being a miniature high-grade model, his eyes haven't been painted, even though if they had, the figure would have looked a bit more lifelike. However, his teeth were at least added, and they have been perfectly captured in the model. In the movie, Sanda was a little darker, but on the miniature, it's lighter. Sanda was raised by humans, and naturally he would be their protector, but the same cannot be said for his little brother Gaira, who we'll be taking a look at shortly. Here is the green Gargantua Gaira, who originated from the deep, and is the more threatening looking Gargantua, because unlike his big brother, he eats people, especially those whose words get stuck in their throats. His facial expression blows me away. Gaira has large canines sticking out of his mouth, to indicate that he is a literal man-eater, and he looks just as terrifying as he does in the movie. Remember earlier when I said that War of the Gargantua was the sequel to Frankenstein vs. Baragon? Well, I forgot to mention that the Gargantua brothers were spawned from Frankenstein, and you can see that in Gaira, as he is the more Frankenstein-looking Gargantua, where Sanda is Yeti-looking. Like his older brother, he too comes with a connecting block that joins him to his torso, and a bear trap-like stand for support. Gaira has his arms stuck out, just like Sanda, but where his big older brown brother had closed fists, Gaira has open hands, in a striking position. I think I like Gaira a lot more over Sanda. Not sure why, it could be because he's green, which is my favourite colour, along with red, and like I said, you could see more Frankenstein within him. The Gargantuas are 2 humanoid-looking kaiju who, like some of the other monsters in the franchise, their roles were reused from other characters. For example, Sanda has Kong's roles that were modified, and Gaira has one of the Ultra Monsters' roars. I think it was that one who looks like a dinosaur that was mixed with a bull, who has a horn on his nose. I don't know the name of that one because I haven't seen the Ultraman series, but he does at least appear in Goji 73's Godzilla and His Amazing Friends. Overall, both the Gargantua brothers are very nice and are a welcome addition to this set, and the Gashapon line in general. So now onto the reptilian kaiju, and the first out of the two is the alien cyborg Gigan. Now it isn't too long ago since we reviewed a Gigan Gashapon figure, because he was in the third Godzilla HDD set, appearing alongside Godzilla 2000, Kumara-kun, and Shinagawa-kun. But as much as I like that model, as he is part of what I call the 30th group, with Godzilla 1991, King Ghidorah 1991, and Anguirus and even Nessie the Loch Ness Monster, the link to that review is in the description below. However, that figure was completely crooked and inaccurately blue, where this is more like it, and you could even say that he's Bandai's second go at a newer miniature Gigan model. He's such an upgrade from his crooked bootleg-like predecessor, and he does actually resemble the character very well. He's showing off his hooks menacingly, like he's going to attack another kaiju, and the silver spike at the end of his tail has been captured excellently. His iconic buzzsaw is present, although in some shots the gold does seem to drown it out. His wings are nicely spread out and are not crooked, like his HDD predecessor. And where his HDD predecessor was painted gold and blue, well, thankfully that doesn't happen with the new Gigan Gashapon, because he is correctly green as seen in the Showa movies. However, I will say that the green might be just a little bit too bright, where it was darker in the films, and even the promo image seemed to match the actual suit. So again, it's another case of the prototype being spot on than the actual product itself. But it's a minor complaint, as this is a very nice miniature. In the Thoughts and Opinions video that I made when the set was announced, I said I may use this figure of the character for future episodes of Kaiju and Cryptids. However, when I compared him to Godzilla 62, who I used in the show, Gigan just towered over him. And I know there were some shots in his debut movie where he looked as if he was taller than the King of the Monsters, but here he's just too big. So I think I'll be going back to the original plan and use the old 98 figure instead, despite the fact they made a cameo in the latest episode, Mission Gorath Part 1. Speaking of which, here's the new Gigan with the official Japanese Bandai Gashapon Gigan that I reviewed with 74 Godzilla, Showa Mechagodzilla and Showa Anguirus as part of the officials group. Links in the description below if you wish to check that video out. Here he is with 73 Gigan from the Bandai Creations Godzilla Pack of Destruction set that I definitely will review soon, as well as the HDD Gigan from the 30th group, again link below, his 2004 counterpart from Godzilla Final Wars, and of course his bootleg cousin. So as you can tell, there are a lot of miniature Gigans that are out there on the market, and because I love the character dear to my heart, I welcome all of these, but I do honestly think that the cyborg dinosaur has been covered a heck of a lot, especially the show incarnation. So how about in the future, we have high-grade models for Gigan Rex and Gigan Miles? No surprise to anyone, but this is one of the best figures out of the whole set, and the best Gigan Gashapon period. And last but certainly not least is, well, you all know who this is. Minus Gorgie, aka Godzilla 2023, better known as Godzilla Minus One. Now when this set was originally unveiled, the prototype showed the figure to be a darker shade of colour, where the final product's paint job is lighter. Perhaps both Godzilla Minus One and Showa Gigan were originally going to be more accurately darker, as seen in their respective films, but the tone didn't translate well onto these models, hence why they're lighter, kind of like what we see on the HDD 2019 Titanus, Rodan and Mothra from Godzilla King of the Monsters. The Gashapon figure of Minus One is in a stand-in neutral pose, just like the full-size Bandai Movie Monster Series version of him. However, this does actually remind me of the city destruction scene where he went on the rampage, and later his battle with the military plane. So to be more accurate, this would be his walking stride. My only complaint on this model would be that some of the pieces can pop out very easily, especially whenever I'm cleaning him. A dorsal spine will come loose, so when I do give my Gashapons a wipe down, I actually dismantle them first before cleaning them up. But I think the part that got it worse was the snout, because while it is mostly unnoticeable, however the snout piece is further out, and he does sort of look like a duck a bit. Anyway, except for those nitpicks, this is a very nice high-grade model. Like I said, I love the poses, it gives me vibes to the movie. His dorsal spines are incredible, even if the smaller parts do pop off now and then. and his legs/thighs do remind me of the Heisei Godzilla from the 90s. When it comes to Gashapon models, the sizing of them can be up from 2 to 3 inches, and while Godzilla Minus One himself is surprisingly said to be one of the smaller incarnations of the king, this figure however is I believe to be 3 inches tall, and he will tower over other Godzillas. So here's Minus Goji with his Showa ancestors. Here he is with his Heisei brothers, to which he looks like a modern day version of those guys. This is what he looks like with his Millennium predecessors. Here is Godzilla Minus One with his Reiwa brethren, and of course his Monsterverse rival. Overall, Minus Goji is another great addition, not only to this set, but to the Gashapon line as well. He is such a great looking miniature, and it would be nice if we can have a high grade model of him in his Odo Island form too. So what are my final thoughts on the Godzilla Minus One Gashapons? This is a truly nice set. Both Godzilla and Gigan are fantastic, and the Gargantua brothers are excellent newcomers, especially because they really don't get represented that often. Miniature wise for the Gargantuas, there's been those gummy capsules, and they were also one time an accessory for the Mesa Tank set from Reveltech, but that doesn't really count in my opinion. So it's amazing that we now finally have the Gargantua brothers in Bandai's Gashapon range, despite the fact that they're slightly taller than some of the other monsters. Is this a sign that more obscure characters are going to appear in future high-grade sets? We'll know that updated versions for Gorosaurus, Showa Baragon, as well as 60s Rodan and 68 to 72 Godzilla have been hinted at through leaked pictures online. Then I will say that it looks like the door is open, and it's very possible that more obscure kaiju are coming. And it would be great if Bandai announced that they were going to do Gashapon models for characters like Titanosaurus, Godzilla 75, and maybe even Manda from 1968's Destroyer Monsters, because that incarnation of the character hardly gets represented, as Bandai only seems interested in re-representing Shin Godzilla over and over again. But never say never. I've also reviewed the Bandai Movie Monster series figures for Godzilla Minus One and Showa Gigan long before this set came out, and the links to those videos are in the description below if you wish to check those out. This is Dragonzilla 1991 signing out. Take care and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.